Now we know that Ja Morant has found himself in some news that is not really good, but my man's did take his time off, do some self-reflection, and then go ahead and he sat down with the commissioner Adam Silver to discuss how can they proceed and move forward with all the things that have transpired within the last few months, days, and years revolving around Ja Morant. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna break down Ja Morant's interview with Jalen Rose just to get some key takeaways from that interview. Y'all already know we're gonna talk about it right after this.
Thank you for tuning in to the number one place for your basketball fix, NBA Central, hosted by the Cognac Boys.
All right, now if y'all like what y'all listening to today, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. All right, now. So we already know Ja Morant has been in the news lately, dealing with some things when he was in the club, turning up, doing what you know what I'm saying, what people do when they have after hours, after work. Well, some people. But eventually that live, but he was just trying to show that he was having fun. He ended up showing uh a gun up in the video that caused him to be, told sent home and sent away from the team. And pretty much Ja Morant had this interview with NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, and he pretty much said that the interview went good, the meeting went good, and he eventually sat down with former NBA player Jalen Rose, and it was revealed right there and prior to the interview being released that Ja Morant was given 8 games, as a suspension for the things that he's done. The way that the suspension is going to work is that they're going to count the games that he's already missed as time served. He's going to remain out for their next 3 games, and then he'll be eligible to return on Monday once the Grizzlies play the Dallas Mavericks. And but he is not expected to return on that day. He's expected to come in, ramp up, and then get his conditioning under control, and then return back to work at a later time. So the interview that was done by Ja Morant and Jalen Rose, to me, I think it was a really good one. Now, initially, when all this stuff went down, Jalen Rose, he was on NBA Countdown before a game, and he was discussing Ja Morant and his situation, pretty much saying, Ja Morant, you know what I'm saying? I was in your position before. I done things that were stupid. And rightfully so. The guy's only 23 years old. It's no excuse for some of the things, but we all have to learn that even if you're 30, 40, 50, there are still some things that you got to learn. There will be some things that you can shy away from that over time experience has led you to be like, okay, you're going to make better decisions. But this is a 23-year-old young man who who's been given everything and who's completely changed his life. And a lot of the times, some people don't know how to take all that in. Hence why we got Ja Morant in the situation that he's in right now. This guy's about to next year kicks in a max contract upwards of 230 million. The guy had endorsements by Powerade, and then he's about to go ahead and release his shoe. So he released his shoe. So now he's about to come into his own and make a lot of money. So during the interview, they talked about the many incidents that have came up over the last few months or the year, you know what I'm saying, involving Ja Morant's mother, his sister, and what happened at the Indiana Pacers game on a team bus. And what I took from those is that pretty much when his mom called, he came running. When his sister called, he came running. And typically, that's what a lot of us will do to go and support those family members. But one thing that I do realize is that me being in a position that I am, not making millions and millions of dollars, I don't know how to properly react in that way. It's easy to say that if my mom calls, if I'm making 200 plus million a year, if my mom called, that I got to send somebody else. It's easy to say that, but until you're actually in those shoes, you don't actually know how you will react. Because I know I live in a different state from my mother as of right now. And if my mom calls me and tells me that she needs me, I'm on the next flight. That's just how I am. You know what I'm saying? And that's what Ja Morant spoke to. Somebody called me. I pulled up, checked on my mom, make sure she was good, and then I left. We don't know what transpired during that time between him showing up and leaving, but that's what was given. Same thing with his sister at a volleyball game. He showed up to the volleyball game, make sure that she was safe, and then he left. Now, some may say, like, hey, Ja Morant, you got money, send your security over there and see what's up. That's easy to say. You know what I'm saying? But with the current lifestyle that we live right now, that's not necessarily always going to be true. You know what I'm saying? Because if my sister or my mom call me and I have means to get to them, that's not going to be the case for me right now. But I do understand that when you in a different bracket of life, in a different spotlight in life, there are certain things that you can and can't do. And I guess, and y'all go ahead and let me know in the comments below if it's the right way of thinking to send other people, to kind of solve your problems. Maybe a trusted friend or a security guard or something like that, just to check on, what I'm saying, your people. Now, the incident involving the team bus to where the red beam was shining in the Indiana Pacers bus, Ja Morant admitted it was just him putting himself at the wrong place at the wrong time. And I can respect that to him. Respect that from him, and just pretty much putting himself on the forefront to accept all criticism and man up. You know what I'm saying? And man up. And he also spoke about, that spotlight now being on his inner circle, his dad, his mom, his sister, his homeboys, or whoever else is in his inner circle, to where like they're facing harsh criticism. And you got people questioning his dad, which I don't think is fair. You got people questioning his dad, saying his dad should be this, his dad shouldn't be his friend. And I understand that to a certain extent, because yes, as a father myself, you're supposed to chastise and, make sure that your kids are on the right path. But once your kid is out the door, everybody knows this. Once your kid is out the door, there are certain things that you can that you will say that will get to your kid, or it won't get to them. At the end of the day, there are certain things that you're going to tell your kid as an adult when they reach adulthood. They're going to completely blow you off. We don't know if T Morant ever spoke to Ja Morant about some of the things that he's doing. We don't know that. We're all assuming that, hey, with your son doing X, Y, and Z and constantly building up, there's a possibility that those conversations haven't been had already. But if we're looking at the reality, if we're looking at it on the other spectrum, on the other side, what if he has spoken to Ja Morant as his father, was like, yo, Ja, you need to calm down a little bit. But Ja, being one of those rebel kids, we've all rebelled from our parents before. We've all done that. Our parent told us, don't do this. We still went and did it and had to learn the hard way. This is probably one of those situations. It's no excuse for how Ja Morant carried himself in those situations, you know what I'm saying, allegedly. But at the end of the day, he's a grown man, whether he's 23 or not. He's still a grown man. So I do respect him for that. He did go in there and say that, hey, I have to understand I can't put my people in those type of positions. You know what I'm saying? So rightfully so. But then we still have to think about the other burden as a 23-year-old man. Now you have to go out here and carry the weight of the entire family. That's a lot to bear on a young guy. That's a lot to bear on a young guy. Most of us, I'm 28. It's 28, 30, 35, 40. If you feel like you carrying the family or keeping the family together after grandma goes or grandpa goes, and transition on to the other life, people get depressed during those times. You know what I'm saying? Because you feeling like the weight of the family is solely based on your shoulders. That's a tough thing to be in. And I'm not giving him excuses, because he still has to carry himself in a certain manner. But a lot of the times, and let's keep it a buck, and it's not just in the black community, it's in just about every community. We, especially dealing with men, we don't talk about anxiety or depression. And he came on this interview and talked about that. So shout out to him. We need to normalize that. We need to be able to, as men, go ahead and talk to somebody without being castigated for our feelings. That's just what it really is. And I don't want to preach I don't want to go out here and make this a preaching channel. But at the end of the day, facts are facts. And the guy was dealing with some stress, hence why he jumped on live and said, hey, I wanted to he said when he went to the club, he wanted to release some stress. That is not always considered the best ways, but everybody has their different different coping mechanisms. And that's just what it really is. He spoke on doing some anxiety breathing. He spoke on Reiki and some self-reflection. Now, I will say this, and many other people have echoed. It's really good that he's learning now before something bigger transpire. That's all that matters. He's learning now that things are more important. You know what I'm saying? It's not just about him anymore. It's about his daughter, his sister, his mom, his father. If anybody else he's considering that, that's on him. But I would say that immediate family, that's who he needs to be taken care of. But I'm just an outsider looking in. I don't know the specifics. I don't know how he moves. I don't know what's being said to him. But at the end of the day, you still got to go ahead and carry himself in a manner to protect his family name, because you don't want to tarnish that. And he admitted during the interview as well, all this could be taken away. And that's what the suspension has led him to believe. This is a privilege. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I got deals to make all this money, but just as quick as I got them, it's just as quick as I can lose them. That's what he said. In short, I'm paraphrasing. But yeah, so shout out to him for going ahead and facing the world. You know what I'm saying? And putting that on the forefront, admitting that he did wrong, admitting that he has some stress built up and going through some different things, and that he just needed a release. And I'm going to tell y'all just like this before we go. If you need help, seek help. If you need help, seek help. It's easier said than done because there are limited resources in different parts of this country and the different parts of this world. But at the end of the day, we have to overcome the stigmatism of not speaking up when necessary. And that's just what it really is. I know it's a little bit deeper on the topic today, but I feel like I had to get it out as somebody who's, if y'all know me, y'all know I've served in the military and I've seen many people make dumb mistakes because they was dealing with anxiety and depression. So seek help if you need it. Go talk to somebody and try to find you a good coping mechanism. Don't want to turn to the bottle. Don't want to turn to the drugs. Don't want to turn to a lifestyle that's not conducive to what the hell the future really holds for you and who you are. So if y'all enjoyed today's episode, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to leave it on that note. If you want to follow us, connect collectively, hit us up at NBA Central Show at gmail.com, on Twitter at NBA Central Pod. If you got something to say about this topic or any other topic that has come up, hit us up on our mailbag number to where you can be included in some voicemails or some episodes. Go ahead and send a text message or voicemail to the number 773-270-2799. This is another episode of NBA Central. I'm Bobby. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one.
Thank you for tuning in to the number one place for your basketball fix, NBA Central, hosted by the Cognac Boys.